Good morning, ma'am. Welcome to Curious Times edition of the Ed Leaders. This is our special magazine, which is going to be dedicated to the education leaders such as yourself. And we are bringing the stories of the education leaders to our readers and viewers. We hope with the whole activity that we are doing, we're able to inspire the next set of leaders, and therefore we would like to know about your journey in the profession, your challenges, your hardships, your inspirations, and then how do the 21st century educators as well as children, how do they look at the whole teaching learning processes now that world looks very different. So let's hear from you a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Well, I am remarkably blessed. I'm a fourth generation teacher in my family. So you could say teaching runs in the blood and it's a passion for us. It's a vocation. It is not a profession or a job for us. So it was with this that I went into education, believing that we build the world because we create the foundations of the world by giving children their inherent values and their basic education. So having taken that very seriously, I was a teacher for many years, and then the Christian Brothers in their wisdom decided to make me a school, which is currently ranked as the #1 boys school in India. Managing 2,000 plus boys is a big challenge, but a lot of fun. I think if you go into teaching with a heart that is full of love for your kids and an essential sense of justice, coupled, of course, with knowing the subject matter which you are supposed to be communicating with your children, I don't think you can ever fail as a teacher. And that's what's, at the core of our school. Our boys know that they are loved beyond words. They know that there is a redressal system which allows them to get justice. And of course, our teachers are very competent in their subject matter. So the threefold experience of our children is turning into producing wonderful kids who we're very, very proud of. Yeah. As far as the digital world is concerned, it's been a challenge to convert to, digital teaching, but we did it gradually. We phased it, we educated ourselves, we trained our staff, we trained our teachers, as well as our children and our parents. And working simultaneously on all three fronts, we were able to then bring it together seamlessly. And having first mastered how to communicate and how to teach online and ensure that there was children's participation in it, and we weren't just addressing a box, right? So we had to work out methodologies to be able to interact with our children, have activities with our children. And having put all that into place, we then moved on to the evaluation processes, how to get the written work done. So it was, as I said, a very phased manner it was done, and it has allowed us to put everything into place quite seamlessly. And so the education is going on, the co-curriculars are going on, the outreach, the community service programs are going on online. There's a lot of stuff happening in the school, and it hasn't just, been limited to academics alone.
Right.
As far as our, let's say, our EWS children are concerned, we had a problem that many of them did not have mobiles to be able to join online. And that's where our wonderful alumni came in. We just sent out word saying we need X number of mobiles. And within 2 days, we had all the mobiles we needed. So every single child is online for us, no matter what their economic background might be, right? For inclusion, we have a lot of special children in our schools. So our learning center, our counselors, our teachers have been working overtime to ensure that the kids are receiving that one-on-one inputs they require to be able to cope with the stresses and strains of this new world. And all the children have been distributed amongst the counselors, the teachers, and they are regularly contacted, and we're keeping an eye on all of them. We also have an amazing program which I don't know of any other school having. It's called our foster parenting program. Now, in this, every teacher is a foster parent to 3 of our EWS children, and they are foster parents to them. So throughout this pandemic, especially, they have been keeping in close contact with their sons, as they call them, and they've been watching over their families, interacting with them. And so anytime we found that a family was in trouble in any way, whether it was financial, they didn't have provisions at home, they were without jobs, they needed medical help, we jumped into the breach. And so we're very proud of the fact that we haven't lost even a single child. All our kids are still with us, and we've been able to retain them. They didn't have to go to the villages because we were providing for them. Rations are arriving regularly at their doorsteps till such time as they're able to get jobs and once again restore their own personal dignity and manage for themselves. I think it's caring and compassion that will ensure that you have a happy family. And that's how we view our community. It's not simply a community of teachers and children, it is a community of parents and beyond. And with that, we've been able to cope because with the support and the love that we've received as well as given, it's been an amazing journey through these pandemic times. But we're glad that our family is intact, our children are doing well, and our that learning slide is not as drastic as we would have expected, because we've been monitoring carefully and ensuring that wherever we have found children slipping, that we have given them classes. We try to, we're not waiting for them to come back to school before we find it. We're trying to preempt this entire situation and anticipate what the problems are, and then try and handle them before they become uncontrollable. So it's a lot of anticipation, teamwork, dedication, love and affection that goes into the school. And so we have a happy family.
Yeah. That's wonderful. I mean, I'm just very happy in terms of how you described, like how you took care. There's this challenge of COVID-19 which sits across through the world, but where you've actually not just taken care of the academic side of the students, but I think the mental well-being of children as well as the I would say physical and mental well-being of your extended communities, including EWS and the communities you support. That is tremendous, and I think that's what makes the leaders like you who you are, because you got to lead the way in some initiatives like this, because I would assume that the world was very hard for the teachers also. Like last year, there were like it's like heavier course than a B.Ed for them, and it's a heavier course than they would have done in 3 years of their graduation or post graduations. So their transition to technology and the usage of technology to deliver something, and also not just deliver, effectively deliver something with parents sitting at home watching. I think it took a big sort of effort on their side. In the process, also looking after the communities is commendable. I must congratulate you and all your faculty and all the team members, including the students who have stepped up to do all of this. Besides COVID-19, in your journey, in your career, in your vocation, like you say, are there any other challenges? Because it's very important, because lots of people learn from others' challenges, like then take it up that, okay, if this could be solved, I can also solve it, or if this person could solve it, maybe there's an answer to me. So are there any other challenges that you sort of came that you faced?
Of course, I think, right at the beginning, as new teachers, you will always face issues of discipline and, how do you get your kids to listen to you? I think it's important that one not have a sense of ego. It's to go to people whom you know can help you and seek advice. seek help. So like we used to sit into each other's classes. If somebody had a problem, if I had a problem, I would say, come and sit in my class and see what's going wrong, and then advise me on what to do. And that teacher would come and sit, and then after that we would, over a cup of tea, discuss that maybe you could have done this, maybe you could have done that. And so that allowed me to grow very quickly as a teacher, and to be able to fill in those gaps which I needed to improve upon to be a really good teacher, right? And if basically you cannot control your class, then you cannot communicate with your class. It's out of order. Right. So the heart of any class is good discipline, but it's not a discipline that is imposed on the children where they're scared of you. Right. It's a discipline that has to come because they want to listen to you. They want to be part of your class. So, that mixing in of humor, of compassion, of creativity, and having a lot of activities where the kids are also involved and they're not just receiving. All these things make for good classes, but it didn't come, in a day. These are all challenges I think every teacher will face at the beginning. It's a question of how fast you cope with it. And that will come when one is open to suggestions from one's colleagues. So that is what I used as a baseline for improving wherever I felt I needed improvement, right? I would talk to my kids and find out, where do you think I need to brush up? And they would tell me, this is where you go a little fast. So I would try and slow down. And it's a communication-based learning, right? When I became a principal, it was just learning how to handle people. And we went through a terrible crisis right at the beginning. But I think having your management stand with you and your own belief in God and yourself sees you through troubled times. So when we did face certain challenges in our school, we dealt with them with strength. We dealt with them with honor, with integrity, and with a lot of courage, I felt. And because I had my management standing with me, the staff, the students, the alumni, we saw it through, and we've come through stronger than ever. Right? So it's a belief in people around you. It's a willingness to reach out for help that lies at the heart of getting and resolving issues which would otherwise be insurmountable, and you'd probably give up. And a great sense of faith in God. Right. I always believe God is there, supporting, guiding, strengthening. So with that, yes, I've been able to come through by God's grace.
Totally. So, ma'am, the next point is this has come to us more so in the last 1 year. There's a lot of role that technology is playing and will continue to play in now in teachers' lives, right? Much more than what it was in 2019. Now that are in that space where technology is taking care of a lot of things for us in terms of content, knowledge, research, etc. What do you see as now the role of teachers in the classrooms, or as a vocation, or as a profession? What would be that role now? In the given set of how technology has sort of got involved in our professions, and also with children, right? Because they've quickly adapted and they're pretty fast on everything. Now, what do we see as teachers' roles? And because something like that will define their long-term careers or their long-term view of how they're going to be.
I think a teacher must always remember that teaching is a relationship-based profession, for want of a better word, right? It's whether it's digital or whether it's in the classroom in direct contact, that doesn't change. So even when you have a digital world, of course, the first thing you need to do is equip your staff. So we had very intensive training of our staff. And, people like me. I'm digitally illiterate. I call myself challenged technologically. But my hand was also held and I was taught this is how you do it and this is how you do it. And gradually we all got comfortable with it, right? So that comfort level is important because if a teacher knows what they are doing and how to do it, then it is very easy to teach. So a lot of sharing must happen where everybody is pulling in the challenges as well as the successes. And we all learning from each other and implementing them every day. So it's a constant growing curve, right? It's a graph which has always got to be upwards. That said, teaching doesn't change. Teaching has to be relationship based, it has to be content based, it has to be creative based, right? And why should that change just because you're digital? It only means adapting. So where you could, put your kids into a math lab and say, okay, now I'm farming out this stuff and all of you do it. You tell your kids in advance that in your homes, you will find 6 spoons, bring them here on your table for tomorrow's class. And so instead of using what was in the math lab or maybe 6 straws which were used, my kids will use 6 spoons and they will sit down in front of the computer and the teacher will tell them what to do, which she would do in a normal classroom, right? So it is a matter of adaptation. But if we try to change teaching per se, then we are making a very big mistake because the essentials of teaching will not change, whether it was during the Gurukul times, whether it is in the digital world. If you don't have these things with you, and if you can't get through to your kids, you can't communicate with them, you can't teach them then. So for us, mentoring is very important. Every day after classes, the teacher will sit down for half an hour to 45 minutes on digitally with 8 to 10 children from her classroom, and we'll just have a chat session with them to get to know them. The children need to trust their teacher. They need to have that feeling that, yes, she cares for me. She's involved with my life. She's not only there to just, spout maths at me, right? So once that is put into place, it doesn't matter whether it's digital or whether it's in the classroom. You've still got your relationship with your children and you're working with that. And your kids are responding to you because they see you as a person, not just a picture in a frame. So once you've done that, it's not that challenging. Yes, it needs planning, but I don't think it's impossible at all to make it work.
Yeah, very, very well said. I think that intervention of teacher is going to stay. It is not that people can Google and just sort of, do something on their own. There's like maybe, 99% of the world still needs intervention. I'll just try to sort of, not take too much of your time and wrap up a little bit saying like, this is Teachers' Day. We have 21st century children around us. They have their own pressures. They have their own challenges. Sometimes that's choice of plenty. Sometimes there is the population challenge that we face in this country, the competition which we have constructed, and some of those things we over the years have constructed and made that for our children, right? Now they are in a different century where everything is possible at any age. What are your sort of suggestions to them and your blessings to them on this Teachers' Day?
To the children?
Yes, ma'am.
To the children, I say, really celebrate yourselves because God has made you uniquely and wonderfully. And there's no one in the world who can take your place. You are you. So don't bother about competing against other people. Compete against yourself because if you are unique, then who's to compete against? Right? Always ask yourself, could I be better at this? Could I be a better person? And then strive for that. Set yourselves goals that are manageable. Always reach out for help. And always look around you and see who is in need and whom you can help. Because if you touch one life, I truly believe you touch eternity, because it has a ripple effect that will go beyond what you will ever know, but you will have made a difference. We are put into this world for a reason, and it's always a good reason. So look for it. Celebrate yourself, love yourself, be happy with yourself. And don't forget, if you're in trouble, reach out. There's always somebody there who will love you and will help you through it. You just have to ask. That's all.
Great. Anything else that you want to share with us?
There's so much to tell about education, but I think today's world is about inclusion. So, we need to respect the dignity of our children. We need to see how we can reach out to every single child, even in the digital age. And we need to understand where kids are coming from. That's where knowing your kids is really important. So if your kids are open to you, you will understand what stresses and strains they're going through because they are sharing with you. And then you'll be able to reach out to your child much better than if you're working in a vacuum on a screen. So just get to know your children and let them know you love them. I truly believe that changes the world. Make sure it's very just. Be transparent about what you're doing. Be very fair with your kids. As I keep teasing my boys, I said, I can hang you from the fan and you'll never say a word because you love us and you are very loyal to us and you always support us. And we support them. It has to work both ways.
Right.
So, just happy Teachers' Day to everybody. And I pray that every teacher will make a difference in their children's lives.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. On that note, I want to say a very happy Teachers' Day to you, your faculty in your school, your team members, and everybody around in your organization. And we are very delighted to be able to get in touch with you and have you for the Ed Leaders conversation. And we look forward to continuously engage with you and always engage with you on all the occasions that we celebrate at Curious Times. With that note, thank you so much and happy Teachers' Day to you all.
Thank you, Deepti. It's been an honor being with you. And thank you for this opportunity of sharing. God bless.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.